Kingdom Come Deliverance is an open-world survival RPG that prides itself on historical accuracy and realism. At the very start, your character Henry has no skills and has to learn how to fight, shoot a bow, even learn how to read. But the same thing goes for the player too. The game doesn't really hold your hand and expects you to figure out what to do most of the time. Because of this, there are certain gameplay elements either poorly explained or omitted entirely. So in this video, I'll be sharing 8 tips and tricks to excel in Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now as a side note, these are going to range from just cool game mechanics you might not know, to some of them being a little game breaking, but this is just meant to be a fun list for new or returning players that want to learn some cool new things. I'll be leaving timestamps in the description down below so you can navigate through the list easily. Make sure to do the whole YouTube thing and leave a like if you learned something new. Let's get into this list, starting with number 8. Did you know you don't have to boil potions to craft them? Once you learn how to read and get a hold of a recipe book in Kingdom Come Deliverance, it tells you the ingredients the potion will use, which liquids have to be added as the base, and has specific instructions on which order the herbs should be added, which ingredients should be ground, and how many turns each cycle should be boiled. But you don't actually have to boil the potions. The only time the boiling still needs to be utilized is if the recipe needs to be distilled at the end, but as long as the order is followed and the steps such as grinding are done, the recipe will still be successful. While it's true that missing steps such as boiling will yield less potions per brew at the very start, it'll still give you the same amount of XP. Once achieving level 5 however, you can pick up the perk Trial and Error, which allows for an extra mistake to be done during the brewing process. Now, even missing steps such as boiling will have no negative effect on the potion, and a full 3 potions can be made each and every time. This can be a huge time save if you have a lot of potions to craft, not having to wait for the boil cycle before moving on to the next step. Simply add the liquid and start adding the ingredients in the specified order and complete the potion without ever having to touch the bellows again. Now that you have all those potions, here's a handy little trick I bet you didn't know on how to get more out of them. With number 7, drinking waters can be used to duplicate potions. Have you ever wondered what the use of these drinking waters are? After all, they only provide a half a nutrition point, 1 health, cost next to nothing, and more than anything just take up space in your inventory, weighing a pound apiece. My bet is, most people watching this video drop these almost immediately or don't bother picking them up at all. Now let me explain to you why that's a mistake, because if used properly, these can actually be amazing. First of all, they're extremely cheap, and they can be bought at any tavern in the game, usually in batches of 3, but to get the most out of this, make sure to have at least 5 in your inventory and that they all have the same condition so they can be batched together. Then, scrolling through your inventory, any potion or poison that has the option to apply can be mixed with these drinking waters and instantly duplicated from a single potion into 5. Look for the little green poison symbol on the water to show it's been successful, and open the description to see which effect is currently applied to it. This is helpful in so many ways. At the start of the game, funds might be a little tight, so you can't buy multiple healing potions, but as long as you can buy 1, you'll now have access to 5 of them. What's more, anyone trying to maintain the balanced diet perk and not wishing to overeat, mixing these buffs with the drinking waters gives them the same effects, but only takes on the half a point of nutritional value of the drinking water, allowing you to stack multiple effects all at once without having to worry about going over the nutritional value of 100. And if you're still not convinced, mixing these effects will also remove all alcohol from certain potions such as the Aesop, Bevov's Rage, the Amor, and the Artesian potion. Traditionally, before a large encounter, taking just a couple of these will result in you stumbling around the battlefield drunk. But by doing this little trick, you can stack on multiple buffs, not have to worry about overeating, and filter out all the negative effects that come with these potions. On top of that, in the alchemy tree, there's a perk called the Water of Life, which makes all healing potions 50% more effective, but makes you drunk in the process. However, after the perk is applied, mixing a marigold decoction or a Lazarus potion with the drinking waters will still give that additional 50% healing, but bypass the alcohol. And for anyone out there looking to cause some chaos, you can also duplicate poisons with these. Now while it's true that while mixed with the drinking waters, you aren't going to be able to apply these to your weapons anymore, they are still able to be mixed with cooking pots, making sure you can poison enemy bandit camps, all the pots in Privoslavets, or kill off the entire Merhoyed soldiers camp with just a single potion rather than the traditional 5.
Break it off! Watch out! Over here! Weapons, everyone! What the hell is going on? How did this get? Alarm! Tracy alarm! Watch out! Who the fuck could have killed him?
Now, as a word of caution, don't bother trying this with the shaver schnapps. All you're going to do is waste that potion and it's going to disappear. But all the other potions, give this a try, and seriously, the possibilities are endless, so do yourself a favor. Buy a few of these drinking waters each time you're near a tavern, carry a few of these on your horse, and sooner rather than later, you'll find yourself thankful for these amazing little things. Moving on to number 6, did you know that Captain Bernard is a dirty liar? That's right, Bohemia's favorite trainer not only has the trash talking skills of Muhammad Ali.
Oh dear, did that hurt? You gonna cry now? Come here, lily liver, fucker.
I'm so mean I make medicine sick.
But he's also a dirty liar. Just listen to what he tells you right here.
But you might get hurt, and if you do, I won't bandage you. You'll have to deal with the consequences yourself.
But that's simply just not true. He will actually patch you up. If you happen to find yourself with low health after a training session or passing by Rutai, speak to Captain Bernard, scroll over to the training, and select the Learn Combos option. As the training session starts, your health gets set to 100% and any injuries you might have, such as broken limbs or even bleeding, disappear. I usually like to use this method if I'm training with Captain Bernard with rail weapons and take some damage. Just ask to Learn Combos, you'll get a full health bar before leaving, and you can go off and do whatever it is that people in medieval times do during the day.
Now that would be sweet.
That's for Sigismund.
Yeah, all that good stuff. Now, on to number 5, don't submit to being searched with stolen gear. As crimes in a city go up, the citizens get on edge and the guards get much more frisky. You can see this mechanic get more and more pronounced even if you've never actually been caught stealing. I'm sure we've all had that moment when we're robbing through our favorite town, mine being Ratai, and while walking back to your shared chest to drop off all the stolen gear, we hear that heartbreaking shout.
Show me what you've got concealed.
Now, if your speech or charisma skill is high enough, this isn't a worry. But what happens if you fail? Submitting to the search will get all that gear you worked so hard stealing all night to be confiscated.
Are you yanking my pizzle? Hand over all the stolen goods you have.
The best way is actually to just ignore him, let him get angry, and start fighting you, but then immediately surrender and pay the 30 groschen fine.
Got you. And now I'll fix you good and proper. You'll learn crime doesn't pay.
You see, the guards only search your inventory if they ask or if they actually catch you doing a crime where stealing is involved, such as lockpicking or pickpocketing. However, for general law breaking or fighting, they only charge about 30 groschen, but they don't actually search your inventory. So for any player that's just looted out the weaponsmith, the armorer, and the tailor of all their inventory, I'm pretty sure 30 groschen is a very small price to pay for keeping thousands of groschen of loot. Now, what if there's some gear that you stole that you want to use right away? Well, that brings me to number 4, washing gear using Peshek. The stolen system in Kingdom Come Deliverance is pretty advanced compared to most other games. The value of the stolen item determines how long it has to sit in your inventory before the stolen tag goes away. Some low-level items, it might only take a day or two, but for really nice and expensive gear, it can take in-game weeks before you can comfortably have it in your inventory without fear that the guards are going to take it every time you go into town. But what if you don't want to wait that long?
I want it now!
Well, you can actually wash gear for free using Peshek. Kind of. I say it's free because it doesn't actually cost any money in the long run, but you will need some upfront funds to make it happen. First off, you'll need a high enough lockpicking level to break open his barn and chest, which is level 6 with the Luck of the Drunk perk enabled. After you're able to unlock the door and the chest, this is going to be his inventory. Any items that you want to wash, place them into the chest, then go speak to Peshek and ask to sell gear. Once here, you will have to pay a substantial upscale price to get the items back, but if you buy them from there, they'll appear in your inventory fully washed without the stolen tags. Then simply go back to the chest and take back the groschen you spent, thereby making this free as long as the initial fee can be afforded. I make sure to do this with any gear that I have equipped to myself or any saddles, horseshoes, and bridles that I have on my horse because the guards can take tack away from them too. I've definitely made the mistake before where I don't think I have anything stolen on me, I allow the guard to search me, and then my horse appears beside me naked. So to be safe, any gear you're going to have on you throughout your playthrough, make sure that you get rid of those stolen tags by using Peshek. Now on to number 3, the Nightingale baskets can show your location. So I love playing this game on hardcore mode, and I've talked to several people that have said that they would like to try it, but it can be intimidating. There are no cardinal directions shown on your compass, and your location doesn't show up on the map, so you have to use your knowledge, waypoints found along your journey, and the sun's position in the sky to figure out where you are and where you need to go. Well, there's actually a solution. As soon as the prologue is done and you wake up at the Ratai Mill, after going to the castle and getting the quest Train Hard, Fight Easy, go directly to the Huntsman in Ratai located here on the map, and the Huntsman will give you a quest called A Bird in the Hand. This quest gives you 3 empty bird cages and you're supposed to use them to track down 3 nightingales. However, when these baskets are dropped and the quest is active in your journal, their location will actually show up on the map anywhere in the world that you are, not just in the search area. This can be extremely useful if you're lost in the woods trying to find a treasure map, or if you find yourself traveling at night and can't seem to orient yourself on where you're going. Just make sure to pick up the cage after you're done, or you're going to have these markers all over your screen and it's not going to do you a whole lot of good. I realize some people will find this immersion breaking, but for any players out there that have considered a hardcore playthrough, hopefully this tip can bridge that gap and open the option up to you, at least to try it without being worried that you'll be lost all the time. Moving on to number 2, opening the lockpicking screen multiple times will get you a better starting location. Lockpicking in KCD has come a long way from where it started, as I'm pretty sure anyone that remembers the release version of this game probably still has nightmares about it.
Calm down. Get a hold of yourself.
Doctor, you're wanted on the phone.
It's a simple process, but it can be tricky to get right consistently. When first opening the lock screen, you're greeted with this. The idea is to rummage around to find the sweet spot of the lock, turning the dot yellow, and then turning the lock while holding that dot in the same position. The problem is, the further this sweet spot is from the center of the screen, the harder it is to hold the position as you make a full rotation, made even worse for those that selected the shakes debuff in hardcore mode. You can get a sense of how far the sweet spot is from the center as soon as you open the menu. If the dot is tiny, like shown here, it's probably far away, as opposed to here, where it's fairly large, which means very little movement will be required, thereby making the lock easier to unlock. Well, did you know that each time the lock is selected, the position is actually randomly generated, sometimes being really far, while other times being very close. You can use this to your advantage, because if you open the lockpicking screen and see that the dot is small, simply back out and try again. It will take several tries. I've had locks that I've done this on probably about a dozen times before I was happy with where my starting position was, but eventually this will work. This is useful in scenarios where you have a limited amount of lockpicks, like in Skalitz, or if breaking a lock, which is quite loud, will most likely alert someone, such as most merchant shops.
Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?
It's usually better to take a few extra seconds to pick the lock correctly the first time, rather than starting in a bad position and risk failing. This is something I find myself doing all the time, and I think you definitely should too. And finally, finishing off with number 1, did you know you could get the best saddle in the entire game before even finishing the prologue? That's right, you can have the noble saddle with 4 saddlebags before Henry even makes his ride over to Talmberg, and the best part is, it's actually super easy to do and doesn't even register as stolen, so you don't have to worry about getting it taken away. This can be done as soon as you escape from Skalitz during the initial Cuman attack. When Henry runs down the moat alongside of the castle, the game loads in and prompts you to run, get a horse, and get over to Talmberg. Run down the hill is normal, but at the bottom, there's a specific horse you'll need to mount. Once reaching Teresa at the mill, you can whistle for a horse to get the Cumans to stop attacking her, and you'll see this horse come trotting over. However, the horse we actually want is this one here with the green saddle. Try to do this quick, as the Cumans will be running after you as soon as you whistle, and proceed down the road as normal. As you reach the end of the road, the cutscene will activate where Henry gets shot in the leg and you have to ride away from the Cumans on the horse. Right after this happens and the game loads back in, open the menu, scroll over to the sidekick tab, and select tack. Once here, you'll see 2 sets of the plain bridle, 1 plain saddle, and the noble saddle in the horse's inventory. Simply move the noble saddle over to your inventory and you'll see it appear under your armor tab. And there you go. You're now the proud owner of the best saddle in the game before even getting out of the tutorial. Later on down the main quest line, you'll be given Pebbles, who comes equipped with a plain saddle, but this weighs substantially less while increasing carry capacity on your horse by 200 pounds. That is going to make a huge difference on the loot you're able to haul, particularly in the early game. And that's going to do it for my 8 tips and tricks to excel in Kingdom Come Deliverance. If you learned something new, make sure to give the video a like and subscribe to the channel. For more guides, click the links on the screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!